All right, good evening, everybody. We're here for another episode of Tilton the Scales. I'm here with Chet and Wally. I'm Nathan Logan. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, if you can, smash that like button, smash the follow button. Feel free to comment on all of our stuff, whether you like it or not. Any feedback, positive or negative, will always help us get better. Of course, we like the positive, but the negative will come as well. So, I mean, that'll make us better. That'll help us improve. We want to make sure that we're talking about things that you guys like to hear. Also, on the same lines of same opinions, etc. So, please do what you can to help us out. With that, how are y'all doing this evening?
Ollie?
Great night. It's a little dreary here in New Hampshire, rainy and whatnot. Uh, but it's a good night. Happy to be here. Excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah. I had a work event, and the entire time I was at the work event, which was awesome. I couldn't wait to get back here and do this. So happy to be here.
That's awesome. I'm happy to have you all here. I love our talks. I love getting back together with you. Jose, the friend of the show, Jose is not obviously he's got his grandson this weekend, so he's not able to make it, but he'll be back next
Uh,
week. Uh, with that said, any of you that comment, like, or share our stuff, if you want to come on the show, you got a topic that you want to talk about that you're passionate about, we're always willing to bring anybody on to talk about it. Uh, talk about your topic. Just again, comment and let us know. We'll do some research so that we can speak
yeah.
intelligently about it, and we'll have a good conversation. So, uh,
As
all right.
intelligent as
So
we're able, we shouldn't offer
yeah,
things that we can't
yeah,
deliver on. We
yeah.
cannot
Absolutely.
guarantee deliver on an intelligent conversation. Hopefully, they can carry our weight.
Yeah, let's be honest. The intelligent conversation
That's
happens with
not
the
our
two of
forte.
you. Happens with the two of you, and then when I speak, you both lose brain cells. So,
That's not
but
true.
No.
well, sometimes it is. But all right, so I wanted to give a shout out on social media. Some of the things that people have been commenting on us. I posted the conversation that we had about Jerry Jones and him being Joe Biden and wearing too many hats and just the overall dumpster fire that the Cowboys are this year. I had a friend on Instagram who follows us, both me personally and Tilton the Scales. It's at CT Klein 29. She commented and said that's the thing. We're so used to it by now that it's not even worth getting angry about anymore. The GM Jerry and the owner Jerry haven't been on the same page in years. We all know he's not going anywhere until he does. And then there's a little emoji there, and it's literally just a waiting game and watching the circus until then. So thanks, CT Klein. Little backstory on her: she was my first promotion as an NCO in the military. She was my first brand new soldier out of basic training that was part of my team. So that's how I know her. She now lives in Dallas, has been to several games up there. So what do you think about the comment? Do you agree with her? Disagree?
100% agree. I think we've said the same thing on this podcast a couple times.
More than one.
That it's time to move on. Is there such a major piece in the NFL landscape that I'm surprised the other owners and or the commissioner having started kind of push him out a little bit. Because I do believe he's part of the problem. The problem is also that he's again performing at a high level. I mean, look at the worth of the organization. They're continuously the highest producing revenue team in the NFL. Like you can't argue with the results. They're bringing a shit ton of money for the other owners.
Yeah. What do you think, Chet?
The guy's got to go at this point, but it is a end of an era, and he should get a wonderful send off. Like 3 Super Bowls in the '90s, building that team. He made a mistake. The second he fired the coaches he fired, super mistake. But he's been hanging around trying to make it work. And now finally people are understanding, like, man, it's an ego thing, time to go. But he also should be honored, is my thought.
You're a Texas
Yes.
guy, Nate. What's your take on this? How are people in Texas viewing it?
Oh, well, I mean, they don't like the product that's on the field. That's the thing. And like you
Sure.
said, Wally, the business side of it, of course he's excelling, but the fans don't care that he's making money on Taylor Swift's
They
concert
do
he comes
not.
into town.
They
They
do
not
not.
caring shit. They don't give a
They
shit.
don't. Yeah, they don't care about that. They want the money that they pay to fill the stadium. They want that to be a direct reflection of what's the product that's on the field. And I think they all agree to a certain extent that Jerry should be hiring, instead of wearing all the hats, he should be hiring people to hold them accountable. I mean, it's okay that you set expectations for these people that you hire and then you fire them. Even if yes, the buck stops with you at the top, but you don't need to be doing those different jobs every day. Like, hire somebody to do them, let them focus on those jobs, and then ultimately you make a decision when that individual brings the decisive point to you. But like, hold them accountable, hire them, fire them all year. I don't care, but you just shouldn't be the one doing all of that stuff. The same post, Jose, friend of the show, Jose, posted on it, and his comment was, "I agreed on all points. Got to stop wasting draft capital and develop players they have, and keep proven players like Pollard, who was solid." So also in that conversation, we talked about they traded for Jonathan Mingo, a 4th-round draft pick that they gave up. Those 4th-round draft picks that they've used in the past have been used to draft Dak Prescott, Dalton Schultz, who's no longer with the team, Tony Pollard, who's no longer with the team. So they're good at finding value in that, especially if those 3 players that I just named off, they're all more valuable than the person that they traded for, and they have the backup that wide receiver has the backup quarterback throwing to him. So it's just a dumpster fire over there. So I agree with Jose.
In Dallas,
Yeah.
dumpster fire.
Any comment on Jose's comment? Anybody?
He nailed it. He nailed it. I think he just re-emphasized what we just said last point. Yeah, it's time. It's time for wholesale changes and wholesale roster changes too. They're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to go a different direction at quarterback, right? You think they're gonna try to get rid of Dak?
Oh, you think?
I don't know, but we'll talk. We'll talk.
They're gonna have a high draft pick. They're gonna have a really high draft pick.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in when we get to the NFL talk. So that's definitely on the conversation piece. That
I'm gonna bring
the New York Giants and
I don't mind this
We've
recording.
known New York Giants.
My wife just said, "Bring me the laundry upstairs." I'm gonna go do that shit. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And the last comment on social media that I want to give a shout out to is at Handful of CC. She's also one of a soldier that I dealt with in my time in the Army. Great lady, awesome mom. Anyway, her response was just a sad face with tears. So she's a diehard. I think she's Texans because she lives in Houston, but also Dallas for sure, diehard. So, I just have all the respect in the world for those Dallas Cowboys fans, because it's rough out there.
I mean, there are fan bases that have it worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it's just, again, the owner puts out the expectation, and the expectation is,
spend some money
they're
too.
all in every year. They're all in every year. So, like, if that's the expectation, and then this happens, like, again, there is no one other than the coach that can take the blunt of this, because there is no GM. He's not going to fire
the owner.
Member.
No, that's right.
That's the problem, right? Like, because you drafted everybody. You put that team on the field. And it's not that they're not good, but there needs to be some adjustments, obviously. And I don't think it's the head coach, because the head coach he's proven to be a good X's and O's guy. Like, and it's just, I feel like it's just the culture there, because everyone can go to the owner with whatever problem that they have, and the coach has no authority, so they don't treat him as an authoritative figure.
Then what they need to do is hire the most authoritarian coach in recent history, Mr. Bill Belichick. Put him in place for 3 years. Let him run. This is good. That'd be a good step there. We're talking Jerry Jones needing to step away. You put a guy like Bill Belichick in who runs his organization. He would be there in the contingency that he has to run it.
Hmm?
What do you think?
I don't think that Bill. I mean, Bill might take that job. I don't think that he should take it until there's things that are done. Like again, who's the GM that they're bringing in? That should be his question in the interview. Who's the GM you're bringing in? Oh, you're not bringing
Bill
anybody in.
Belichick.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think he might be an okay GM if that's all he needs to focus on.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like
He doesn't want that though. He wants to come back and get the coaching record. I'm pretty sure he's too aware of history not to.
yeah, and I'd like to see him do it. I'm not gonna lie. I'd love to see him do it. Some more shout out on social media. Sorry, our Instagram.
No,
We
please.
got 93 followers. We're trying to get to 100. As soon as we get to 100, we'll do a shot or something on here. We'll figure out a way to celebrate that milestone for 100 followers. But also our consistent followers on Instagram and commenters and likers. Other than the people that I've already mentioned, Allison Constant or at Allison Constant 6 is a huge supporter, always liking, always sharing our content, and also at Leah0421. She's also a constant follower, sharing our stuff, liking our stuff. That's on the Instagram side. On the Facebook side, we got 43 followers. Owen Parento, David Lynch, and Allison Constant are all consistently liking our stuff. We got a comment that you didn't like. If we want to talk about it.
Oh,
Probably
no, I was
not.
messing with you. No.
I'll edit that out.
Oh yeah, I'm not buying that.
You haven't been watching the stuff on YouTube then. I've edited out everything that you guys have wanted me to.
You really?
Yeah,
That boy.
absolutely.
I
You should
can't
watch
stand
it.
the sound of my voice. I cannot stand the sound of my voice. I wish I could. I can't stand the sound of my voice.
Well, here's something, and I'm actually going to post this. So, if you watch on YouTube, the beginning and the end, there's an intro and an exit. Watch and listen to both of those, and
Yeah.
let me know. Give me some feedback because almost every one of them are different, and it's not that I'm going back and forth, but I just wonder how I want to handle it. Like
Yeah.
some of the
All right.
intros, some of the exits, I've said thanks for hanging out with us. If I can't believe you lasted this long, we're a bunch of retards talking about stupid stuff. Like not that extreme, but on that same side. Like, and again, we're trying to be comedic informative as well, so trying to add some humor to it. But I was gonna wait till Chet came back for this, but also on Facebook, Stephanie Breton, who formerly we know her as Stephanie Phillips, she commented on the post that I put out about dad jokes, and if you wanted your dad joke on the next episode. So her daughter's favorite currently is how do you make a tissue dance?
Put a little boogie in it.
Heck yeah, I think all dads know that one.
That's a staple. That's a staple. Your dad jokes are on point. You're killing it.
Yeah. So thank you,
Killing
Steph.
it.
Appreciate it. You just missed the Stephanie Breton's dad joke, Chat.
Oh, god damn it.
Well, let's see if you know.
It's all the good
dads
stuff.
should know this. All dads should know this though. How do you make a tissue dance?
Mm,
Oh no.
Come on.
sneeze?
Huh?
I said sneeze because it's the best thing I can think of.
I mean, yes, but there's another way to say that. How would you? What comes
Not
out of your
you?
nose and goes into the tissue?
It's not.
You put a little boogie in it. Oh.
I can't. Oh my god. I can't.
All right, moving on. I'm gonna have to post that. I can't believe you didn't know that. All right, our first topic today, somewhat controversial. I'm coming at it from definitely something that I support: automated driving. So I believe automated driving is something. The technology already exists. Technology itself is geared towards doing a lot of things, right? But when we boil it down, it's supposed to make our lives safer and our lives easier, right? Can we agree on that? So if that technology exists, I feel like it should be implemented. There are some things about automated driving that probably need some governmental influence as far as how to regulate it, when to do it. I'm not one for I don't want to go out and buy a vehicle and it's 100% automated and I can't drive it myself. Otherwise, like if that's the case, there's no point in me owning a personal vehicle. Like I'll just get a taxi that's automated or whatever. But I do want to go out and drive my vehicle that I buy. Like that's a consumer right? So, but I think from the safety aspect, it's something that should be implemented because it could save a lot. It will save a lot of lives. It'll make driving less stressful for everyone. And I just wanted to before we dive into a full on debate, just get your take on it, starting with you, Chet. How you feel about the notion of automated driving, and you walk out today and everyone's driving automated vehicles. How do you feel about that?
Well, if it's like a highway, right? And you can put sensors on the highway the entire time, you just go through easily. The amount of lives that will be saved on going that fast with no problems, no human error is amazing. So I'm all for that. But to your point, back roads, leave those alone. Let people go have a good time. There will still be tough things that happen, exactly, right? But leave those alone. And driving through Texas or driving through New Hampshire or driving through anywhere, Kansas, and having the ability to just be in control, because humans like control.
Yeah.
So the idea that you can be in control on the back road, do that thing is really nice. So if you could find a way to, like, say you're drunk at a bar and
Hey, I like where your head's at. Hey,
It-
safety, right? Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
yes, exactly. No, safety. Your car can get you and drive you through the back roads all the way to the highways and then get you home as soon as possible and then like just dump your ass off and like that's good. I could not support that more because of the amount of people that have been hurt by drunk drivers or the amount of people that have been hurt by the legislation against drunk drivers. I think it's a great idea. But you have to allow the freedom. So it's a tough one, but I'm all about automated driving.
Wally, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to argue against that point, right? That there are certain circumstances where taking the control away from an incapacitated person. Yeah, I agree. Then yeah, that sounds good. But I think there's certain liberties that you're also losing when you're just allowing mass transport to move you from point A to point B. That I don't think I'm willing to cede. I think it's also important that we continue to have a populace that are able to interact with the world around them and able to think critically and move when they need to and do all these things that driving kind of also typifies. And if we continue to just dumb down and automate everything, not only will people lose jobs, because I mean, what's the next opposite translation? Bus drivers, long distance truckers, so many different people that depend on the transportation industry to make a living are now out of jobs as well. So while I understand it's a good theory, I think that driving and being able to drive is almost like I think that you'll have a similar reaction as you would if you're trying to take away people's guns. People are going to react strongly. I want to drive. I want to be the one behind the wheel. I don't trust any effing computer to tell me where I'm going and how I'm going there. They mess up all the time. Yep. And it's hard to argue at that point because they currently do. So I can understand a counter argument against automation, certainly, but similarly, it's hard to argue with if you're wasted at the bar to be able to hop in and press a button and get there safely. I'm pro that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take jobs away from anybody. I still think Uber should exist for when you're drunk at the bar and you need a ride home. Like that's a real thing. And I still think taxi cab operators and bus drivers, that should still exist. Even through automation, I still think that there should be somebody, an individual behind the wheel who
Yep.
is not inebriated, who can function when the system breaks down. So, case in point, like there for automated driving, there are technically five levels that the Society of Automotive Engineers classify. Level zero is no automation at all, and then all the way to level 5, which is full automation, full on. I don't need to touch anything. I step in, it does everything for me, or I tell it where to take me, etc. Voice activation, all that. But like I think level 3 is somewhere where we're looking at least for me, where level 3 systems can make driving or that's what exists now. Excuse me. Level 3 systems can make driving decisions in certain conditions, like on highways, but still require the driver to take over when prompted. There's the Mercedes-Benz Drive Pilot, and several other operating systems in vehicles do the same thing. Lane assistance, you're swerving in and out, or it keeps you in the lane instead of allowing you to swerve in and out, and it gives you alerts. I mean, that stuff I agree with. And I want that sort of level of control for the consumer themselves. But to Chet's point, where he said when you're on the highway, and like I specifically think that it should be run by a city, right? But also mandated by the government, that it needs to be, whether that's a state government or federal government, that it needs to be during rush hour. This is when your vehicle will be fully 100% automated, no matter where you're at. Because, Chet, if you can answer this question, I'll give you, I don't know, a hug when I see you. Where do most accidents happen and when?
Oh, when everyone's on the road, rush hour traffic.
Yeah, but where? Well, aside from in your personal bubble, in your world specifically, you travel from home to work.
Oh, within 5 miles from home.
Yeah, exactly. So are you within 5 miles of the highway?
Me, no, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, just to put it in context, like I do believe the highway would help, but I think during rush hour traffic, definitely mandating that during rush hour will help with congestion, will help with a lot of things. Like if you think about it, mental health, right? How many people are stressed out about the drive that they have to and from work every day? Like there are a lot of people that I know that stress out about the traffic in Austin. And if you can take that away, meaning, are they still sitting in traffic? Yes, but can I listen to a podcast? Can I not necessarily focus on the road because everything is 100% automated? Can I still focus on work if I want to while I'm on the way to work? And when I leave, can I focus on something else that will take away the stress from work? Like I think there's definitely something to gain as far as work-life balance if this were a real thing. And I think that it would be very beneficial to everybody. But I mean, what do you guys think?
Why?
I'm hearing a lot about government regulation and oversight and mandates and all these keywords that I just don't feel like we're in a current political climate where that is something people are going to embrace. The government hasn't proven itself adept at managing many things as of late, and to be able to trust our entire our already broken transportation system. We got a broken ass transportation system. Try driving in and out of Boston on a daily basis and tell me what we're currently doing is not broken.
Fucking terrible.
So then are we going to trust the same people who built that to manage that? I mean, I'm not certain that's a good move.
Well, hold on. If we're also talking about a bunch of humans behind vehicles that are
Right.
creating congestion. We're not talking about, again, when we talk about,
I'm just saying I don't think government oversight, increased governmental oversight and regulation is necessarily the right answer.
Yeah, think of the T. So think of the T. The T is the worst thing in the world. They don't plan. They have a routine. They do their routine. And whether it's a Bruins game, Celtics game, or not, they just run the same routine, which means you're stuck there with some sweaty motherfucker taking the tee. I'm not going there. Why would I do that? That sounds horrible. That's why I spend so much money for a fucking party bus. I don't want to be part of that. So to Wally's point, more governmental oversight, decisions based on these little cockroaches will do what we want them to do. Eh, don't love it. However, automated driving to make sure people don't drive drunk, I like that.
So can I like that too, but so can each of you, oh, we'll start with you, Wally. Can you give me, since you're on that train of thought, can you give me an example of an instance where the federal government or government in general stepped in and regulated or mandated something, and it was actually a positive thing for us as human beings or Americans?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I think there's many examples of that. I think you can make an argument that Social Security has been able to improve the lives of Americans. And that's a governmental mandate and regulation that has increased the quality of life in America. Now, you can argue that efficiency of it, and there's certainly arguments you can make about that. But I think that it has improved the quality of life of Americans.
Yeah. Chet, you got one?
Oh, like yeah, the
Or
affordable.
let me. Sorry, before you answer, you can give me both if you want to. But what Wally gave me something that wasn't necessarily viewed as a bad thing by public. They didn't want to be taxed and have to put money into that, but I think everybody wanted that sort of thing to happen. So can you
That wasn't what you were asked. That's not what you wanted.
Well, I did, but I meant like something that was not popular. It was something that people didn't necessarily want, but the government mandated it anyway, and
The draft.
No, I see. I already see where we're going, and I like it, and I can't wait. Nate, have you ever had a cold?
cold, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, you're disqualified from health insurance. You're done. So the Affordable Health Care Act, what that did, the AC, like what Obamacare did, was basically say like what insurance companies were doing for the longest time. It's capitalist. It was a capitalist thing. So if you're a capitalist, all you care about is what's the outcome of my choices. So it makes sense that if this guy had a wart at 4 years old, I'm not going to give him health insurance. If this 60-year-old overcame emphysema, they're done. We can't cover them anymore. What Obamacare did was said, let's be more compassionate to human beings, to real people that live lives, that have families. They want to be around their kids. They want to be around their grandkids, or even sometimes adults who want to be around their parents. What it did was said you cannot deny someone health care just because they had something go wrong before. Because what's the point of health care?
Yeah.
If you've had an issue before, like what's the point? So that's what the ACA did. So I think I would, to your question, Nate, I would say that's a government issued policy that I think helped a lot of people.
Yeah, but there was some pushback on by public opinion on whether they should or should not do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, it's just pointing out like there throughout history, those are some very current things, but we can go all the way back to the Revolutionary War and like there were a lot of things that the monarchy did that we did not like, and it created a revolution, right? So, but we wanted freedom to do what we wanted to do, or at least have a voice in what we wanted to do. So, I do think government regulation or government implementation of this specifically is what is going to push it in the direction to where it's something that it will build confidence in the government regulating it, because there are too many people that don't want to do it. There's too many pro or cons and not enough pros. But the reality is like, if it's for our safety, then the government should implement it. And if we can prove, which we can, because right now, let's look at it this way from an aspect of travel. When we talk about commercial travel, the safest way to travel commercially is by airline, hands down. We know that. Like, you're more likely to die by being struck by lightning than you are to die in a plane crash. Now, that's also because of the number of planes that have taken off and landed. The statistics are, astronomical because of the volume of planes, the number of people that get on a plane, and when one goes down, it's a drop in the bucket, right? So, I mean, we understand that, but it's still, when we look at it from a point of automation, that plane is almost the entire flight is automated.
Yeah, but now you're talking about, you're not talking about regulation anymore. Now you're talking about dependency, right? Now you are dependent upon the government to get from point A to point B, right? You need to plug into their system. You need to hop on there, whatever, to do it that way. I don't know that
I would say
becoming more dependent upon the government is a good move.
I would say when you say dependent on the government to put the regulation in place as far as the start of it, right? But I don't think the federal government should be in charge of building the infrastructure that cities need and doing all of those things. Just mandating it once the technology is available and affordable, then mandating it by the federal government and saying, now, if the federal government has major oversight, then I should be able to go pay for a state inspection, right, and get my vehicle upgraded with all the sensory equipment that's needed, and the government pays for that. I don't need to pay for it. But that's not the dependency that I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to implement it when the technology fully and unequivocally exists, and the infrastructure also exists for it to happen. And then, the government steps in and says, and it could be something along the lines, let's say the Trump, presidency decides that this is something that they want to run with, and it becomes something that is, by the third year of his reign, right? He says, by this year, I want all cities across the country to be able to do 2 hours of morning and afternoon rush hour on automated driving. And then, obviously, from this day to that day, they're working on creating that infrastructure, creating the things that need to happen for
you okay with that?
I mean, again, it's something that I want, but obviously I think we need to be ready for it. And again, like, I'm fully aware of, like, I understand the movie Terminator, like, John Connor is somewhere in America right now. John Connor's in America somewhere right now, and he's worried about Judgment Day.
Hey, Nate, it's 5 minutes. You have to go pee. You don't have a choice. Go do it. You like that?
Yeah. I mean, I probably would if somebody told me to. It's a reminder, right? Like, no, I don't like somebody telling me to go use the bathroom, because that makes me think that there's somebody there that wants to jump me, or like something's going to happen there that I don't want to happen. Like, I'm going to be roofied. They're putting me into a vehicle, and I'm going to be raped or something.
I mean, I like that, but what I am absolutely 100% like coming at you on, you would not, Nate, I know you. Someone tells you to do something and you have to do it now. You don't love that. Nobody does.
Well, again, so there have been several reasons in several instances across history, again, where the government says this is going to happen by this date. Yeah. We want this to happen, and it's moved forward, but we're moving in that direction. And let me just throw you all for a loop right now. Like, I think right now, the airline industry should be investing in teleportation devices.
I love that. I would love that too.
I mean, because if they don't, someone's going to create that technology and it won't be something that they can control. If they create that, if they have an R&D program where they're trying to like, we're not talking about like, Star Trek where they beam people. We're talking about,
No, like
again,
real
like
life.
creating some sort of portal or some sort of teleportation device where we can move people from one area to another. And like, I mean, if the airport or the airline industry corners that market, then they already have the infrastructure and they can control it. And it's not like we're not talking. We saw how the federal government helped bail them out, along with car industries, right? Like that's a major part of our economy, so it can't just go away. So if the airline industry is doing this, I mean, they can charge more for tickets, like, and you show up at the airport with your luggage and you walk through this
Whatever you
portal.
think of, you can do. Whatever you think of as a human being, you
I
can
mean,
do.
I
I have
saw
no
it.
idea
I
how we
saw
get.
it in a movie. It's got to be real.
Actually, kind of, yeah.
Sorry,
Like if you think of it,
we're
you
kind of
can do
getting
it.
off track here, but I do think again, if we look at the pros, we talk about improved safety. We already understand. Don't even think about like improved safety on the road for all the vehicles traveling. Let's think about the police officer that stops somebody on the highway and is trying to, again, assess a traffic ticket or assess a traffic violation. Or let's say that vehicle has a flat tire and that person is trying to, the officer is trying to assist them. How many police officers do you know that have responded to that or have heard about? Probably don't know anybody that have been struck by a vehicle on the road while they were assisting somebody or assessing a
Oh my
traffic
God, it's
violation.
all the time.
Yeah, it happens too much. So let's say from a safety perspective, automated driving doesn't matter where you are, right? Like that vehicle, both vehicles that are on the side of the road that are
Shut it down.
stationary, well, they have some sort of bubble, right? And that
Oh,
once a vehicle hits that bubble, or if all of the vehicles are talking, like they're in a Bluetooth network, right? They're all
yeah,
linked together. 50 vehicles back, like they already know 50 vehicles back. There's something up front,
it's,
and the automated driving kicks in automatically because of
yep.
the safety awareness that's coming up ahead, and they're
Like,
slowing down, merging to the
you're
left.
not a little concerned about abuse though? Like I could see that very easily abused. With absolute power comes again, you're becoming entirely dependent upon the government, and you need to trust that they're not going to misuse this power. They've
How
given
would how
no
would they misuse?
indication.
How would they misuse
Okay.
it?
Because now they know where you're going at all times. They have another way to track you anywhere. They can call you in at any time. They can stop you from going anywhere on a whim, just because they want to.
If they want to.
You've got to assume that every level of bureaucrat is going to make a right decision, and not there's not going to be some asshole at a mid management pissed off at the world is going to fuck me over. Like these are real world implications, and if you give
Real.
them that kind of power, it can be abused.
Yeah,
Very fucking real, Nate.
there's definitely some ethical and legal issues that need to be ironed out. But again, like, so let's. What would you want, Wally? Would you want your system to be monitored to the point where if you drive over the speed limit, that automatically triggers a ticket? You get a ticket sent to your email because you drove over the speed limit, not on an automated. It wasn't on the automated sensor. You took control of the vehicle and drove over the speed limit, and that system automatically communicates to the network on the local law enforcement and sends you a ticket. Would you want
Um,
that or no?
no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's
I
going to be
don't think
said.
anybody does. I don't think anybody does.
No,
I wouldn't
no,
want that
I wouldn't want
personally.
But
that either.
Nate, I'd rather you respond to this. Think of some middle management guy in government who has control of your car. Because what you're talking about leads to that. Are you sure you're okay with that? Because what Wally said was, I can't repeat it. I can't articulate it as well. He did a great job. You want that?
During the mandated hours yes, I would applaud that, because I don't want to, again, I don't want to sit in traffic and deal with bumper to bumper. How many times have you sat in bumper to bumper traffic and you sit at a stoplight for 3 seconds when you see the green light is already green? And there's two or three people are on the horn trying to get somebody's attention. Like,
That's some dumbass.
driving
I get that.
distracted nowadays is a real thing. So, like, again, for efficiency and safety purposes, like, as soon as that light turns green, it's all networked together. The
You give up
computers.
that power. You would give up that power to someone else to take control of your car that you're in.
Well, it's not someone else. It's a computer that doesn't have any feelings towards
Well,
the people,
but
the person that
Nate,
just cut me off. It doesn't
but
have any
Nate-
feelings towards me.
people make the computer programs that make it happen. It's always people. It's always
Oh,
people.
yes. Yes, I would allow a computer to control my vehicle
All right.
for the hours mandated by the government, so that everything moves efficiently. Again, technology is designed to make our lives more efficient and easier, and it can do both. And I don't want it 100%.
Actually, I don't want you to post that. Don't post that.
I don't
Wally?
know what you're referring
We'll
to.
post what?
Nothing.
What do you have a rebuttal, Wally?
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I just worry I worry about the oversight of this said system. That's my only concern. In a utopia, like in a vacuum, you're 1,000% correct. That would make accidents go to zero. It would you could do it in a clean manner, so it might cut back on emissions. There's so many positives. My concern is that we still need oversight management of it. And if you give that level of absolute power and absolute dependency upon a governmental entity, I don't have faith currently that our government is capable of, or frankly deserves, that level of power. And furthermore, I don't have any faith that they're going to get to a place in the near future where that's any different. And I just don't have faith I don't want to give them that kind of power.
The only thing that I want to clarify, the only thing that I want them to do is mandate a certain amount of time, meaning 60 minutes. If they say the minimum that each state will abide by is 60 minutes, then for rush hour in the morning and rush hour in the evening, that's all that I want.
So let me ask you a couple questions. And how do you enforce this? Is there like a button so that, like, how's it enforced? How's it? Is the system set up so that it's only okay? Go ahead.
If we were to look at it, like, I mean, so my smart brain, which isn't very smart, but the way I look at it is this, right? Like, when we're talking about an urban area, every store to the left and the right of the road has a Wi-Fi network. That Wi-Fi network will be part of the integrated network for each vehicle, but also each vehicle will be networked within every vehicle that it can touch within its invisible footprint. So if the vehicle in front of me, if however many vehicles are in front of that, and also however many vehicles, it could be a mile away from the vehicle in front of it, but it's connected to that vehicle through all of the Wi-Fi networks that it's now networked together with, and it understands what's going on a mile down the road, even though there's no vehicle in front of it to actually network, and there isn't a train in front of it that's a mile long to tell it, but there's an invisible network that can reach that and tell you. But to answer your question, like, the network, there has to be an infrastructure for the network that's set up in order to regulate this. And it would be, again, as soon as you enter that, and it, again, as Chet said, maybe it's highways and not urban areas, right? Maybe it's major state highways. That's what the state controls. But each city within their urban areas can also do that if they set up the infrastructure and everything to allow that to happen as far as automated driving. But again, when we're talking about, we know with networks, any networks, we need to talk about privacy and security risk, right? but the reality is like everything is hackable, including
Yeah.
aviation systems that are used
Yeah, everything is.
For for travel, for commercial travel. And privacy, I mean, let's be honest. Every time we go onto a site on the internet and type in our personal data, we're signing an agreement to where that whatever entity we're entering that information into, they can share it with whoever
Yeah.
the agreement states, right? So if you're trying to not be like John Connor and not be on the grid, like, and you entered any information on the internet, you're already on the grid.
That's your choice. That's your choice. You're talking about mandates and forcing people to do it.
Yeah.
That's an important distinction. Now, I have a compromise, and I think that this is a doable compromise. If you privatize a system like that and then make it something that somebody chooses to do versus has to do, meaning you have some sort of overlay where you can plug into this grid in this system, and that happens, and it runs more efficiently. People would pay a premium for that, and then you could actually utilize that system or be a choice. It would take a massive investment of money, but something like that, especially in the more urban, population dense systems, I think people would pay money for. I'd be willing to go for something like that, but then it's a choice you opt into, you pay for a service that you not that you're forced to use.
So I think what we're really probably looking at is a hybrid of that, right? Like there's going to be something, because I think that the government does need to mandate. So this is how the database would support the conversion to automated driving, right? If you mandate that, then you have those specific data points of those hours or however many they are and when they are in high traffic areas. You have that data point to say this is this was at one point the most congested, the most time we had most of the accidents happen during these hours, and we implemented automated driving, and we reduced everything from traffic congestion to accidents during these hours, and then from there it builds as far as how it should be implemented. But I think that you're right where it should be. It probably will be, again, federal and private building their own infrastructures, building their own internet, where it's you have to, like, because I can see where it would be dangerous if it's during rush hour and you have a choice to be on this automated network and have your vehicle drive automated. Somebody can still drive 20 miles past the speed limit to get it past everybody, and they're putting everyone else at risk and themselves in that vehicle.
So then maybe what we're having is a difference of in language. Maybe it's a semantics issue, because I think also rather than mandate it, what if we were to offer it? You could even incentivize it versus mandating it, and then I probably would be in favor of increasing opportunity. Like if this is a system that works, that people would opt into, that again would pay for, you could incentivize that. Then I think that's a great idea, especially if it can do all those things that you just said. But that's a distinct difference than mandating and forcing. I'm not in favor of mandating. I would be in favor of a system like that you could opt into, though.
Yep.
I know a lot of people don't like to hear those words. Like the government is telling me to do this. Like no one wanted the government to tell them to get a vaccine that wasn't approved,
yeah, martial law is
and
fucking horrible.
And that they felt like would help people. And I agree with that. It's your own personal opinion, but again, when we're talking about safety, and we're talking about something that is definitely has been a safety issue for many years, right? Like driving in your vehicle, whether the number of risks that you face getting in your vehicle and driving are more than you face in any aspect of your life, unless you're someone in law enforcement, unless you're somebody in the military that goes overseas and goes to war. Like I think that is something that isn't a point of contention. Like we know that is a fact. Like that is the most risk that we put ourselves in daily when we set foot in our vehicle. If there's something that can reduce that risk, almost, you know, take it away or make it negligible, then I mean,
Get
geez,
that. I get
like
that.
again, I just don't see. And Wally, you've pointed out some of the environmental benefits and the productivity as well. I mean, we talked about that as well. Having a better work life cycle. Like again, if I'm driving to work and I don't have to worry about the driving aspect, as in the stress that the traffic and the congestion put on me. I mean, I come to work and I'm more productive. And then I do the same going home. When I leave work, I come home and I'm more productive. Like I'm not yelling at my kids. I'm not beating my wife. I'm not putting on that wife beater when I get home, you know? Like I don't know, these are just
Molly and I could be poor as shit and still not beat our wives. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a terrible choice. The fucking shit
all of
guy.
us all of us have made that choice, right? Like, and I don't condone that. I don't want anybody going home beating their wife. That was always part of a safety brief for the
Well,
weekend.
let's start with the fact that both Chet and I's wives could kick our asses. Like, let's start with that and like not look past that. I could not physically win, and I'm confident I could say the same for Chet.
I've seen that sweet chin music, though. I mean,
Oh no, I would miss and she would pedigree my ass. I go, sweetie busy, and she'd be like, oh no, boom, boom, is what she would do. That's what would happen.
I feel like she's more of a what was the Rock's move? The sidewalk slam. What was that?
People's elbow.
Yeah,
Oh, the rock bottom.
Yeah.
The rock
Yeah,
bottom.
the rock bottom. Yeah, I think
Yeah, she'd rock
more her
bottom my
style.
ass. That's how
like
that would
that's
work.
more her
That's
style.
how that would work out.
So yeah, there's a lot that needs to happen. Again, when we talk about the infrastructure, of course, some of the sensors need to be improved, like LiDARs for 3D mapping and object detection. That's basically
3D
what we
mapping
use.
is going to take forever. I know what you're saying. It's going to take forever.
Yeah, but also some of that doesn't need to exist because believe it or not, there is a. So when we talk about sensory equipment, we know that there's a backup camera, right? In most vehicles, and a lot of vehicles also have cameras, 360-degree camera. So if a vehicle has that, there isn't a need for 3D mapping. It already has the visual aspect that it needs to do anything because it can read street signs, process that in fractions of a second. It can adjust to construction zones. Like, I mean, again, this is also when we're talking about automated driving in a sense where I just want to get in and hit the automation button. Not
My car right now, with all that shit, would have been accident 25 times if I wasn't paying attention.
What?
I'm just saying.
What was the question?
No, not a question. I'm saying my car right now has all that shit. And if I were not paying attention, I would have been accident 25 times.
I mean, so the safety equipment works, right? But what we're trying to do is make sure that everyone has it because obviously when we get into accidents, it's something that people are turning off, right? Because you have an option to turn those off, right, Chet? Most of those sensors you can turn them off.
I would never, but yes, people do.
Yeah. And so it's an option. And then also some vehicles don't have it. So again, when we're talking about implementing this, does that mean like my 69 Ford Mustang GT or AKA Eleanor, needs to have this in order to get on the road? Yes, that is a fact. And then again, the technology that exists to create a kit that is installed on the vehicle, because aside from a fully renovated and authentic 69 GT Mustang doesn't have a computer system, but there is a computer system that you can put on that thing to regulate everything from the timing and the gears to, so it's a system that's easily integrated into any vehicle that can pass inspection and get on the road. So
you're saying, Nate, just a quick question. You're saying you like to, in my mind, it makes sense everything you're saying. You want to regulate that stuff, like regulate the highway, regulate the certain roads, the freeways, the highways, the freeways, not the back roads, right?
I think that again, during certain hours when we talk about when is rush hour, all right, and again,
Yep.
this is the federal government saying what 60 minutes or 2 hours during morning and evening rush hour is what is at a minimum what you'll do, and every city within their infrastructure can decide and make a decision on whether. So we talk about here in Texas, and I know it's the same there. We have state highways, we have country roads, we have regular roads that would be your downtown roads or in the urban area roads, right? So there would be a distinction between all of that, and then again the infrastructure for the automation to happen, or the updated and security of a fully autonomous and individualized automated driving, meaning that vehicle itself not needing a network can see what's in front of it, can also know what's up ahead and be able to at a certain speed be able to do that. So I'd like to see it move in the direction of not 100%, but during again specific rush hour, specific times when the local entity or federal government say this is implemented because of the congestion at this time in this area, and it automatically happens. And also, doesn't matter what road I'm on, but if there's a fire truck, an ambulance, something on the road, yes, I can see the red and whites, but sometimes I can't because of fog, because of weather.
I've been
But
there.
there is that cellular network, if we want to look at it that way, that's telling me that's up there. And automated driving is automatically kicking in.
Someone
It's
needs some
automatically
help.
reducing my speed. There's nothing that I can do about it to make that person, those first responders safer because of that automated driving.
All right. Well,
Does that
anyway,
answer your question?
you did. Hey,
I mean, we're just going to agree to disagree on this one. I understand. Again, I understand the benefits, and I agree with you there. I don't trust the system enough to mandate it. I think that if you offer it, if you incentivize it, then I'd be for it. But I'm not in favor of wholesale change and wholesale dependency upon the government.
agreed.
Well, in closing this argument and debate in only Til'ton the Scales fashion, I agree with you, but you're wrong.
let's put it to a vote. Let's put a poll. I'm pretty confident I'll win this one.
Yeah, you might win this one, Mike.
We should. Again, I want to buy a vehicle and drive it. There's no other reason why I would buy a vehicle.
No,
I just think
the government will
easier.
assign you one, and you'll be happy.
I mean, if that's raise my taxes, and I will gladly do that. Like, I'll take my car payment away. Shoot.
Oh Jesus!
I'll go get an electric scooter and I'll ride around on that thing like nobody's business. Go off roading on it.
Well, I saw this truck. His truck truly is amazing.
Well, he's seen it.
I've seen his truck. He's driven it up here before.
It's nice. All right. So I appreciate you guys, your insight. That's just that's something that I've talked about a number of times before with some people down here. I'm fairly passionate about it. I think it's gonna happen. I'd like to see it happen sooner rather than later. I mean, again, just for the safety aspect.
Let's hope it stays down there.
Well, man.
It's not happening. I can guarantee this. It's not happening in New Hampshire. We won't even we won't even spend money on transportation. They were talking about extending the T up into New Hampshire, the high speed rail up in New Hampshire.
No thanks.
New Hampshire will not spend a dime to improve public transportation. Sorry, not happening.
That's interesting.
And Massachusetts, by the way,
they want to provide transportation. Why wouldn't they want to Why
Money.
wouldn't they want to provide?
New Hampshire
no,
doesn't have
hold on,
broad-based
hold on,
tax.
hold on, hold on.
Oh,
Yeah, but wouldn't that
Uh-oh.
improve the quality of life for somebody that lives in Tilton and wants to get a job in Manchester or Nashua,
So
but doesn't have a vehicle to drive, doesn't it? Like,
there is county transportation and cities do transportation, so there is smaller scale. But I'm talking about the big major systems in and out of Boston, Manchester,
Yeah.
Boston, Concord.
Nashua, yeah.
That's what we won't invest in. And again, it comes down to money. It's a money thing. We won't spend the money to do that because we don't have the money to spend to do that. We have almost no tolls on the roads, or very
What are
few
we spending
compared
it
to.
on? What are y'all spending it on?
Well, we
No,
don't. Again,
do you pay
we
taxes?
Money,
don't.
property
We
tax.
don't have a
taxes?
broad-based tax. It's all based on property taxes.
Property tax.
So it goes to education. It goes to our other various programs that New Hampshire's got a balanced budget, don't we, Chet? I think we're doing all right fiscally.
We do.
Isn't
But
education
they're not spending money on that.
My personal thing went up 2,800.
You-
Sorry,
oh.
200
Your property taxes did 200.
from
Yeah.
26 to 28 this year, and that does suck. At the same
28?
time,
2,800.
yeah,
That's what you pay annually,
monthly.
or every 6 months.
Oh, taxes? Oh,
Yeah.
we're like 12 or 13,000 taxes
I
now.
was gonna say, there's no chance living in Bedford, New Hampshire, that you have $2,800 tax bill in that house.
I have to say this to
my-
the fans of the show. We're in
my heart
Goffstown. We're in
skipped a beat.
Goffstown.
Goffstown, sorry.
This
Goffstown,
man does not
Goffstown,
respect Goffstown.
Bosstown. My apologies.
Did I just win, by the way, this last week against you?
You beat me. Yeah, my team's
But not by a lot.
in a lull.
I think though, you and I, it's a good possibility. Championship game.
Yeah. You
It's-
know what's not happening right now is that Cleveland is beating Pittsburgh as we speak.
Yeah, but look at that snow. Holy
Oh.
shit.
Is it snowing there? I don't have the game
A
on.
huge snow. It's a snow game.
Yeah.
Come on.
Snowballs, for sure.
Why don't you fuckers tell me this? This is bullshit. Can
I
I find
just-
out this way?
Wally, by the way, I didn't even notice it until you said it. Then I looked to my left. I was focused on you guys.
Yeah,
Good segue.
I didn't have my game on. Can we pause for a second real quick?
Hmm?
Can we pause recording for a second?
Can we check the Patriots? All right, so we're gonna talk Patriots last week. Man,
Oh.
section
Oh.
323. What? Chet? 323.
323. I can show. I'm gonna send this.
Let's go.
Give us the rundown.
Our on-field correspondent from Gillette Stadium
And start from the house.
323.
Give us the whole
Yes, give
ride. I
us
want to hear
the
about all of it.
rundown.
You want to hear that shit? Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Start from the house.
Absolutely.
I got my buddy Ian. Shout out to Ian Faulkner, my boy. I got a really good deal on this cooler. So I was like, oh my God. All right, we'll see that sometime in December. Nope, showed up. A cooler. One cooler for all the shit we needed was here on a good deal from my buddy Ian. So I see that show up and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
What's so special about this cooler?
Yeah.
Oh, I
can't believe you started
gotta
this
show
story
you. It's a
I can't
ninja.
believe you started this story talking about a cooler. I got to see this cooler now.
Yes.
Can I get 1 second? Can I get 1 second?
Yeah, I apologize.
No. I mean, can I show you?
Yeah, please.
All right, I got you.
Yeah, what kind of cooler is this, man? That's like, I mean, I've seen some coolers from floating on the Kamal River here in Texas where people have like speakers installed on it and it's like all Wi-Fi and yeah, I've seen some speakers, but he's talking like this thing of like it's got a microwave built in and
No.
nice.
Hold on though. Underneath. If you put ice in this thing,
Hold it up. I didn't see it. Can you hold it up again?
got it.
Probably lasts for like a month, right? Ice in there? Yeah.
Oh wow,
Oh, is that a
that's
shelf?
heavy. That's a
Is
heavy.
that a
duty.
built-in shelf underneath it?
So
Yes, it is. Nate, that's very observant. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Check out
So
the
is
show.
that where? Yeah, you put food in there. Or what did you put? In there?
Yes, you do. And so,
you actually do.
So drinks on top, food on the bottom, keeps it cool.
for
That's
all of
pretty
us,
slick,
like
man.
literally.
And that probably
Yeah,
came in handy with your
Who's it-
family.
who's it made
You had
by?
to make a bunch of sandwiches. Ninja. It's made by Ninja.
Ninja.
Ninja. Yep. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it happened. So we got to get in the party bus
Yeah.
with this thing. So as a bonus.
What'd you pack for drinks? What
Oh.
do you roll? What are you rolling into with that?
Me, I was doing hard seltzers. We had like 24 waters.
Yeah.
We had stuff for the kids, obviously, and it was amazing. Then go to the game. We see a first touchdown by the Patriots. Like, wait, when's the last time you saw them drive that
Yes.
loud?
Yes.
Supposed
Opening
to
drive. Yeah. Opening
I've seen-
drive. Yeah.
I've seen it a couple times with Drake May. I'm a maniac.
I'm a maniac too. We're all
Hashtag.
maniacs. Nice job, Nate. Nice job, Nate. So we saw
Get it
that.
viral.
We saw the whole game happen, and it ended not as well, of course. But I got this picture of me and my son. I was grabbing him, like just like love, and he was like, "Whoop!" He was like, "I
Go.
that picture."
Sorry.
Wally, come on. We're live.
I know. 100 points.
But the picture was more like he's like the one that you see is him so happy and me protecting him from like not falling over. So that's what we saw. What are
Damn
you
it,
getting?
It was Justin Fields.
Yeah, I say that to say don't half-ass it, Wally. Just go with it. Like
It
if
was
you say
Justin
it-
Fields.
I know.
And by
I'm
the way,
saying
Wally-
go with it. Like
Wally,
the reaction.
Nate.
The reaction.
I needed that to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you did. So
Yes, you did.
You were.
yes, you did.
Here he is again. That's Cordell Stewart, man. That's all. He's
No,
Cordell Stewart.
that's Justin Fields.
I know. Slash. He's the new
That's-
Slash,
why do
man.
you-
That's all. He's not even trying to throw the ball. But anyway, sorry. Check.
The new
Continue with
Slash.
your story.
I think it was done.
What are they
Okay.
doing?
Great time, great game.
Amazing game.
Party bus.
So I got that photo of you and your son. I'm gonna put it on Til'ton the Scales and everything and my social media for sure. That was awesome. I wish it was with you and the family, but I know you got a picture of you guys on the bus.
We got some on the bus, which is good too.
That's awesome, man. I'm happy for you. That was it.
Hey, by the way, I'm glad I showed this cooler because I'm gonna when we post this, I'm gonna show my buddy Ian that I actually brought that shit out here so I can show you guys.
Well, I won't speak for all of the ticket holders, that pay good money to sit in those seats and watch the games, but I feel like you guys got your money's worth. Like that was a fairly, well contested game on both sides of the ball.
It was.
Our defense looked porous. It was, I felt like we could have done a better job, but I mean, again, talking about
Yeah,
where we
quarterback.
started the season and where we're at now, like I'm still on the fence of like, I don't want them to win because it doesn't benefit us, but
I
I like to
always want
see
them to
good
win.
performances from our maniac, our residential maniac, fucking Drake May. He balled out. I say he balled out. Again,
Hold
he
over.
had 282 yards and two
Oh.
touchdowns, and he had one
In that
interception.
game,
Yeah.
it was the best game he's had so far. I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my god, Cameron, watch this!" Because
Yeah.
Cameron's watching like to find out like what does he do next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he
It's
just
amazing.
looks good. He just looks good.
He looks good.
he does through 6 games. Just so you know, through 6
Wally,
games,
also you look good.
his
Thanks, buddy.
his statistics are
appreciate
second. He's second among rookie quarterbacks. So of the top 3, he's in the he's second in stats. So I mean and when we think about again when we talked about this week 1, we didn't. Wally, you and I didn't want to see him play at all because of the surrounding, the cast surrounding him, and say what you want, like, they have been coached up. That's the only reason why Drake May is having any resemblance of success when we talk about the quarterback position, I have to think that they've been coached up, because the other 10 people on the field cannot just all, improve on their own by themselves individually. Like, it's a collective task that they're all, so they are being coached well, in my opinion, and they're all over, literally to a man, they're all overperforming and outperforming their paychecks. And I mean, that's what you want to see week in and week out. And again, Drake May, when we talk about the top 3 rookie quarterbacks, when we talk about any quarterbacks, he is second. Like, I would say probably the most surprising quarterback is Bo Nix. Like, he's doing really well in Denver.
I agree with that.
But still, when we talk about statistics through 6 weeks, Drake May didn't start. If he had started week 1, we would probably be talking about this guy definitely outperforming everybody, and also in consideration for Rookie of the Year, which he still can be at the end of the year. It's not over, but if that happens, I feel like we got to win more. And I don't, when you got guys or coaches like Sean McVay, who's, we can all agree he's an offensive guru. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to quarterback play and offensive play in general. When he's given Drake May compliments at the end of games, like, I feel like that's a big deal. Back, like, and he's not the only person that has acumen in the NFL and intelligence in the NFL that is saying, like, Drake May's the real deal. So do I want to pump the brakes a little bit? And, we're on to next week. Let's see how that goes. Yeah. But yes, absolutely.
Great. This is a great snow game, by the way.
Great game.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. So is this conversation, by the way.
The other problem. Excuse me.
Oh, it's like livening me up. The snow game livened me up.
Do you like this? I mean, this is real football, right?
Yes, this is real football.
This is how it should be, and this is how I wish the Patriots played more games at. I agree with everything you said about May. I mean, he still turned the ball over at a pretty high clip. He still has those moments where you're like, boy. But I think that you're going to have that with a rookie quarterback. So I think it's part of the game and part of the growing pains, and hopefully he makes them fewer and fewer. But what does he got? 6 turnovers, six interceptions, handful of fumbles as well. So
he's got like 5 brothers to fuck him up. He's got 5 brothers to fuck him up his whole life. Yeah. He's not afraid of any situation.
He has 5 brothers.
Yeah.
Is he the youngest?
No, he's somewhere in there, which I like better.
No, I believe he's the youngest.
Is he youngest?
He's the youngest, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, you're right, Wally. Like, I don't like the turnovers, but I think I'd rather see him throw an interception.
Me too.
Fumble.
Me too.
Because
Me too.
I mean, I don't want him to fumble because I know that he's got to run. He's running for his life out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he makes a bad decision because he's running for his life, because he throws it, I'd rather see that.
Is the offensive line bad? I'm confused.
The offensive line is bad. He's getting rid of the ball quicker. He's commanding the offense better, which I think helps the offensive line. It helps the offensive line significantly. But our offensive line stinks, and that's what we need to invest in heavily this offseason if we want to be any good. Offensive line and wide receiver.
We're going to beat Miami this weekend.
But that's
the win.
We'll get to that, Chet. But
sorry.
That's really what you want to see from a rookie quarterback, right? Like from his first start to his last start, like he understands the strengths and weaknesses of the offense. He has an internal clock in his head. He knows if he gets the ball out in less than 3 seconds, one, there's a higher rate of success because the defense, is still moving into position / and the offensive line has a better opportunity to protect him. If he holds it for more than 3 seconds, then what's going to happen? Nothing really good, right? Like either the media is going to talk about how terrible the offensive line is, or they're going to talk about how terrible Drake May is, right? So, I mean, and there's a lot of things in between that the media will talk about and can conjure up as well. But like those are, if he holds the ball longer than 3 seconds, he knows that bad things are going to happen. So hopefully, knowing that, he's walking to the line of scrimmage before he puts his hand on that center's ass to snap the ball and get ready. He's making a decision pre-snap, which again, from the aspect of somebody coming right out of college, like, I mean, that is leaps and bounds above, you know, where he was a year ago, right, in college. Like, again, I break it down to coaching. Like, obviously, he's being coached up, and he's in a position. From what I can understand, he's in a position where he's receptive of the coaching. The coaching is communicating effectively with him, and he's adapting to that situation. Like, I was pretty adamant about question marks about, do we have this guy in the right situation? Do we have him in the right position to build year in and year out without starting over at head coach, starting over at OC, you know? So, like, it seems like we're moving in the right direction, which is, again, it's a positive. So, I mean,
I'm still not sold that it's coaching, to be honest with you. I still have my concerns about the coaching. I thought defensively this last week that I don't know why we didn't shift things up. Like, I felt like we just kept trying to do the same thing over and over again. Like, I just feel like we continue to make bad play calls. I think he's playing well
on offense and defense,
on offense and defense. I think he's playing well in spite of the coaching. Frankly, I think it's gotten better, but I wonder how. I'm just not sold on coaching, and I wonder how it would be if we had a different coach in there. To be honest with you, I'm especially critical of the offensive play,
like Belichick.
Like, I just feel like offensive play calling, that he has been spectacular, but we haven't been calling good games. I just don't think we have. I've been on record saying that from early on, and nothing's really changed.
You have been on record. You have been on record saying that. I agree.
I don't disagree, but would you say there's a spectacular offensive coordinator behind him?
Oh my goodness gracious! Turnover. Holy shit, what a play. I feel like there has been a spark. I think it's Drake May. He is that spark. It's not like
of course
our wide receivers are dropping a ton of balls. I feel like we're throwing when we should be running. We're running when we should be throwing.
Wally?
What's that?
You know what stat isn't recorded anymore?
What?
On offense? Drops.
What? I mean, they talk about it every game. Like, they still talk about it. It may or not be recorded. You know what I'm talking about. We drop a lot of balls. Yeah, wow.
So my question was, you said Drake May's spectacular, and you think that's what's fueling
I think he's been a spark. I think he's been a spark. I probably shouldn't say spectacular. He hasn't been spectacular. He's been good. He's been promising. I like what he's bringing to the table.
Oh, no.
If we added,
oh no,
what?
Well,
nothing. I'll wait till you see it.
Did he throw an interception?
Nope.
No. Oh, he missed him. He was wide open. Shit, that was 6 points for you.
Yeah, I'm playing against Pickens, so I'd rather it not go to him.
You used the word spectacular when talking.
I didn't mean to. I shouldn't have.
But my question was, as a rebuttal, does he have a spectacular offensive coordinator behind him, or somebody that, again, in game, there's adjustments, there's all this happening, and you can see it. Like, I still think that's lacking as well, because I can't rely on the head coach. I'm almost like somewhere in between. Like, we need an offensive coach, and I like Jared Mayo and the way he is. Like, because the head coach does not need to know X's and O's on the offensive side. If he's a whiz bang on and genius on the defensive side, that's cool. Let's make sure that defense
Yep.
is up to par, which it's not. So
It's
I
not.
question what's going on there. But I think we've gone back to it, or I've talked about it before. Week 1, man, when we won that game, where was it? It was on the road. Who did we beat? Week 1. Yeah, that was a nice catch.
It wasn't
Who did we
Pickett,
beat
was
week
it?
1? Shit.
We beat Cleveland. That's Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah, it was Cincinnati.
Bengals.
Yeah, and they're a good team now. We can agree with that. They're a good team. We beat them in Cleveland
Tough team.
or in Cincinnati, right? And like, again, I feel like part of that was the personal relationship that coach had with certain players. And I pointed out the conversation that Jared Mayo had with Jacoby Brissett, who was starting that week, who came into the facility and was crying at his locker because he was so joyful that he was starting in the NFL, the opportunity that was put in front of him. And the coach was like, "What are you crying for?" And he said he's nervous, this and that. And the coach's response was, "Man, you're about to ball out and go win us this game. So let's go."
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that is just knowing someone on a personal level that you coach every day and inspiring them to do what's needed to be done. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that part, so the guy can manage personalities and manage personnel. I feel like that's hands down. You can't question that. So that's why I like him. I don't need him to be a genius on offense, but I want them to hire somebody that they know is a genius. I don't care how much it costs.
Do you know what he's known as? He's known as a quarterback developer. And I think he's doing a really nice job of that. I think he's known as a quarterback's coach. He's cut his bones as a guy who's been able to get quarterbacks to produce at a high level. And I think he's doing that. I just worry about his ability to handle the offense as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I agree with you 100%. Yes, that's what he's known as. But I'm not trying to take money away from the guy. Keep him at the same salary. Hire somebody else that is a whiz bang offensive X's and O's guy that is proven, not somebody that comes in
John Gruden.
Well, I mean, I don't know who it is, but like there are a lot of people that there are only 32 offensive coordinator jobs. There are some people out there that are not employed that were currently doing that job, and you can evaluate them based off of that, right? Like, So why are we not finding somebody that's unemployed that did a good job at developing / incorporating the offense around a certain individual? And that was one thing, again, when we talk about the top 3 picked, Cliff Kingsbury, his adjustment from when he was in Arizona to Washington, he blatantly said, like, I had a system that I tried to work Kyle Murray into. This time I had a different approach. Because did it work? Yes, it did sometimes, but there was some contention between the two individuals, right? Because I didn't come to you and say, "Hey, what do you like to do? What do you want to do?" And then that was his approach with Jaden Daniels. That was what the first meeting that they sat down and had. That was the question. The questions were, what do you like? What do you want to do? And then we build the offensive philosophy from there. And that's exactly what Cliff Kingsbury did. And I feel like, then when it fails, I can say, look, this isn't working. I know this is what you like to do. This is what you want to do, but let's try it my way. And then we'll work from there. So yeah. All right. Patriots, Miami this week. It is in Miami. This is a traditional late November or early to late November game where we go down there and suffer in the humidity and heat. Need IVs on the sideline. I think it's not a trap game. We're not favored.
It used to be a trap game for us.
Yeah.
This always used to be a trap game when they stunk and we were good.
Yeah.
That late Miami game was always a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's definitely a rivalry game. I mean, we don't play well traditionally when we go down there. It's always
Right,
tough
I'm
when
on
we go down
17.
there. So I, I I think the Patriots play just as well as they did against the Rams, but end up falling short. I mean, on the offensive side for sure. Our defense still haven't seen much, and again, I contribute that to the $40 million in cap space that we currently have, along with getting rid of two of our best defensive players before and during the season. I mean, there are guys out there that are playing their butts off, but they're not starters. They're complementary players. They probably shouldn't be playing as many downs as they are, and so I see Miami winning this one.
Wally?
I was looking for the.
I mean, yeah, Miami's most likely to win it, but I do believe the Patriots have a chance. Miami's not exactly performing at a high level, right? I mean, they're underperforming. They have all year. I mean, just to a incredible degree, right? Well, I mean, what's their record? Did anybody have it up right in front of us? Right in front of you?
Miami's 4-6.
4-6. All right. I mean, this was a team that was expected to be good, expected to compete. I still think they're better than the Patriots, and I think that they will overwhelm us. I think the Patriots lose.
Put some money on it.
Probably by 10. I think the Patriots lose by 10.
I'll put some money on that. Right now, or will you bet on that, Wally? The line right now is Miami by 7.5. Will you go to 10 and bet on that? Will you go to 10 on bet on that?
Will you give me odds?
Those are the odds. You said 10.
So
we're not stretching.
straight up.
We're not
straight up. I mean, you owe me money from our last bet still, so we'll just bet the money you owe me. I'll be happy to bet the money you owe me.
on for 10 points. I'm saying the Patriots won't lose by 10. They can lose by 9, but they won't lose by 10.
Yeah, I mean, but I still feel like that's yeah, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, we'll bet it. What do you owe me? $25?
No, we won't bet it. We won't bet it. We won't bet it.
No,
you're placating. You're placating. You know, you're in character. I understand.
No, I'm not. I'm not a character. I genuinely think the Patriots will lose by 10. I think.
No, I know, but you're just not willing to bet on that to solidify your belief, and it's okay.
I feel like it's
some people.
It's one of those bets where
some people. Wally,
they're not likely to lose by 10.
Wally, some people talk the talk, and others
walk out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Woo!
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
I'm just saying.
Or you got to beat the man to beat.
What do you got, Chet? What do you got? Patriots and Miami.
Oh God, Patriots 21-17.
I like it, but dang it, I can't see it, man. Tua. I mean, the Dolphins' record is what it is because Tua has missed 4 games. Like,
yep.
I mean, literally, I don't think they lost the game before he went out. Actually, they did. I think they were 3-1 when he went out, and then obviously, they're 4-6. So they did lose last week with him playing. Yeah, I don't know.
17 Patriots.
I can't. The way our defense is playing, if our defense was playing better, then I would have it. I feel like it equals everything out. Like it's almost a coin toss, or we're winning or losing by a field goal. Huh?
What's that, bud?
Well, you think our defense is good?
Our defense is not good, no.
Wally has been on record as saying our defense is the worst in the league. And he was also on record as saying the offensive line was the worst in the league.
Yeah, I am on record.
Last week he said that wasn't true because of Chicago.
Chicago's is worse. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm nothing if not honest. I'm going to tell you what's the truth, my truth in that moment. In that moment, I felt the Patriots, in the first couple of weeks, the Patriots' offensive line was the worst in the league. Up until I saw that Chicago offensive line. That's the worst offensive line in the league.
Oh, my God, right?
It is what it is.
Right?
The Patriots still aren't a good team. I mean, our defense has underperformed this year, right? We came in expecting our defense to be the strength of our team, and they're not. I think that our issue against last week was our defense. Frankly, they were like, as the game went on, they just did whatever they wanted. Puka and Cooper Cup just did whatever they wanted.
I agree.
They had 6 and 7 catches plus 100 yards each. Like,
yeah. I mean, no, our defense was porous, very, very porous. Like we didn't rush the quarterback,
It's not
create
happening.
any pressure.
Yeah,
We
like,
didn't stop the pass, which was even more because our secondary is not, not to shake the finger at it, but I mean, our secondary is fairly good at defending the pass, and
yeah.
They
they
weren't
did
last
not
week.
do a very they were
They
not
weren't.
good at all. Not
There you go
good.
there, right?
To
I
say,
spent a bunch
to
of
say
money.
that they were not good is an understatement. Like they were horrendous. They were very bad. Like
It was
short yardage, long yardage, like zone, man. Like it didn't matter what we were in. We just weren't doing anything on defense, and it was
well, by the way,
very frustrating.
but like right now, you look like someone I would not fuck with.
I am someone you should not fuck with. So that's good.
I like it.
That's true.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's
So
not a
right
look.
now,
It's not a look.
currently,
It's a lifestyle.
right now, currently, the Patriots are. If the season ended today, we'd have the sixth pick in the draft, ahead of
Sixth pick.
Cleveland. Cleveland
Who's
was
the
winning right
best
now.
left tackle? And where's he going?
Cleveland right now, who's winning, and then the Titans, the Raiders, the Giants, and the Jaguars.
I want to draft like a pillar on our offensive line that's going to be on our team for the next 12 years. That
Ooh.
spans. This is what
agree.
I want. I want just a mountain of a left tackle.
Why left? What if it's a right tackle?
Why left?
Why left? Do you even watch football, bro? Like, what the fuck?
Tell me why.
Be nicer.
Because it's the
Wally,
blind
be
side.
nicer. Wally, be nicer.
I'm sorry. Chet, can you handle this, please?
That's some bullshit. Left tackle protects
So if
quarterback.
it's a right tackle, are you not taking him? If he's the best tackle available, are you not taking him?
I don't
and
think right
converting him
tackle
to a
goes
left
that high.
tackle?
It's a left tackle because it's blind side. You need a stronger tackle on the blind side. That's why it's left tackle. I think the Patriots wouldn't draft a right tackle. And besides that,
You don't need a right tackle.
they're interchangeable. If you're going to draft somebody at number 6 on the offensive line, he's going to be a left tackle. He's going to be he's going to end up. He better be a left tackle because
I wanted you to hear. I wanted to hear you say that and make that statement because I agree with you. So speaking of the teams that are underneath us, I wanted to talk about the Giants made a surprising move this week. And it wasn't surprising that they benched
is this
Daniel
surprising?
Jones, but they instead of going with the backup quarterback, they're going with the third string quarterback, Tommy DeVito, which doesn't. And again, if I were in Chet's shoes for the New York Giants and I paid for a season ticket, like I would. What is going on? Like, why are we playing the third string when we paid? And let's put it into context now. I can answer that. Just wait. You went and paid for Drew Lock, who let's say we're paying him $8 million a year. That money could have gone towards us paying Saquon Barkley, in addition to the money that he wanted. So if you're not going to pay the guy that you brought in as a free agent, who also cost you the best player in franchise history in the most recent history, like why the hell are you starting your third string quarterback? And again, I think I know that it's not a rhetorical question. I want to hear your reaction. I have my own opinion, but like, what on earth would you do that at this point in the year? And also, if it's what I think it is, and if I think your response is the same, what are you doing moving forward? Chet, you want to go first? Go first, Chet. I want to hear your response.
I don't want to go first because that's so much.
All right, Wally, go ahead.
Is your proposition that are they losing on purpose to try to get a better draft pick?
Can't handle that. I can't
Well,
handle.
I think they're yes, I do, but it's
Two,
also
two,
that it's also they're not announcing it outright because Tommy DeVito last year, when both the first and the second string quarterbacks were down, he came in and won two straight,
yes.
and then
And he's got
they
a
stayed
cult
with
like
him.
following. I think he'll put
Yeah,
asses in seats. I think the New Yorkers like him. Daniel Jones, they gambled and they lost. They picked him over Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley's a stud. Saquon Barkley on that team right now
Oh,
would make them competitive between him and Neighbors. They hit a home run with Neighbors too. I think Neighbors is the real fucking deal. If they get a legitimate quarterback in there, the problem is they've got. I mean, how many more years is Daniel Jones locked up? Like, what are you going to do next year, Nate? Like, what do you do with this guy? He's got 2 more years at 30 million a year or some crazy thing like that.
yeah.
What do you? So what do you
So
do? Do you? I mean, you have to play him, right? You have to start him, don't you?
yeah,
Or do
I
you trade
agree
him?
with
You
the
try to trade him?
I agree with the Tommy DeVito. I think he does inject some juice into the stands. Now
Yes, he's not a long-term
every
solution at quarterback, though.
right, but everyone on the offense and on the defense already know what they get with him, right? So everyone that's wearing a helmet and a uniform and pads is hoping that things work out right. But I think they know how this story ends, right? So again, it's another incident, just like the Patriots, where
Yeah.
management is saying we're tanking by their actions, but they're not saying it outright. So, man, so Daniel Jones, the hook is he's sitting because if he gets injured and can't pass a physical by I think it's like February or early March, then he's on the hook for the year for 23 million, meaning that he's guaranteed 23 million. But here's the kicker though. So let's say you shelf him for that. He's literally not doing anything for the team other than collecting a paycheck because you're still paying him. So he's sitting, he's not even third string. He's not even dressing, right? So he's sitting on the bench, not doing anything. So again, what well, if you're Daniel Jones, you want the 23 million potentially guaranteed, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so
not.
a few
Why not?
options here. If I'm Daniel Jones, right? I
Especially
want
if
to
you're not a
play.
good quarterback.
Well, let's say he wants to play. Let's say I want to. Let's say again, management came to him with this decision, right, and said, "I'm not. We're going to move on from you. We're not going to play you. The guaranteed money, if you can't pass a physical, is a part of the reason why, and we want to be able to move you in the off season, or move off of you, however that works. If you're Daniel Jones, you're going to the facility. You're still he. The report was he's actually playing safety on one of the scout teams to help out. Like, okay, if you're doing that, why on earth wouldn't you say to management, where is the like this
Oh,
part of my contract? I'll waive that. I want to play. Put me in. I'll do what I can. I want to play. These guys are my teammates. If I'm not the best option, then don't play me. But of the three quarterbacks on the roster, I think I'm the best option. And all that will do. And let's assume that the I'm only waiving this because you are going to move off from me. Like you will trade me in the offseason. I'm waiving the 23 million because you will trade me in the offseason. And then
Can he do that? Can he just waive I think the Players Association would have something to say about that, especially
they
with a
might,
guaranteed,
but it's his contract.
especially if it was a guarantee. It's
Yeah,
not like that. Like I don't think you can just. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe
I
they can
think it
mutually
is.
agree to part ways.
Uh, I mean, let's say you wanted to do that. Would you do that if you were him?
I don't
To
know.
raise your stock, so that you have more teams competing for you, and you're
If
trading
you've got
into a better
$40
situation.
million in your pocket, that's guaranteed money for 2 more years. Stick me on the bench. There's no guarantees, especially
Yeah,
based on my last 3 years, that I'll ever get another chance or another contract. Quarterback in the NFL is a fickle position. fuck you, pay me is my answer to that.
Yeah. So
I'll be
then here's
I'll
what's
be the best cheerleader. Listen, I'll hold the punt, I'll hold the kicks. Like I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll play scout team safety for 20 million a year. Thank you very
You
much.
would, you would actually.
Yeah, and I'd
So
be the
what do
best goddamn scout team safety you'd ever saw.
so what do you think is his value on the market in the offseason? Where do you give me a prediction or a couple. What do you
Daniel
think?
Jones, I don't think he's got a very high. I mean, maybe someone signs with a backup quarterback somewhere. I
It's
don't
not
know.
a-
He's
Well,
not. He's not someone.
They can only
I don't
sign
think
him
any
if he's
team goes.
released. They can only
Right.
sign him if he's released.
Well, that's my point. So you're saying like I don't think
Who's
any
trading?
team, nobody trades for him with that contract. No team in the NFL wants that contract.
So again, now we go back to the New York Giants, right, and their decision. So if they know, let's say if he doesn't play another down, his value is he's a backup quarterback at a minimum. Who's going to trade a 6th or a 7th round draft pick for him at the price that he currently has? Nobody. Zero. Nobody.
No
So what they're going to end up having to do is paying more than half of his salary to trade him to get a 6th or a 7th round draft pick, right? If that.
Can you do that in the NFL? Can you
Of
pay
course you
these
can.
contracts?
Yes, of course you can. Yes. He can get paid. He can get paid. You can divvy up the total of the contract however you want to. Or again, we talked about Amari Cooper. Cleveland restructured his contract at the beginning of the year so that most of his salary that he was being paid was a signing bonus.
Yeah.
So they only owed him like 1.2 million, which made him more attractive in trades, right? Just off the dollar amount. But you're not moving Daniel Jones, and no one is taking on that contract as a backup. Now, let's say the money works, right? And like the Giants pay half, and if they're smart, they try and look at a current backup quarterback that could potentially help them out as a bridge quarterback or has a potential for when they draft a quarterback, there's some sort of competition there / a bridge again, somebody who starts before them. Like, I mean, we're talking about speculation here, but I think if it could work, Detroit has a lot of draft capital and wouldn't mind giving up one late draft pick. And they have somebody in Hendon Hooker who's sitting on the bench behind Jared Goff, who is probably chomping at the bit to get an opportunity to compete. And that's the only logical scenario I see, unless we also look at somebody that's a former Giant in Las Vegas that is a coach. I don't know if the Vegas Raiders give up some capital to get him. I don't know. I'm purely speculating, but I just wonder what's in the head of the New York Giants, because it doesn't do them any good for him not to play, because his stock can only go up because it's not very high, right? Like if he plays well and there's more tape on him, like yeah, and he's supposedly Brian Dable is one of those smart guys that should be doing pretty well with any offensive.
Brian Dable doesn't make it to the end of the season.
I don't think he does either, but I don't think he's the problem, honestly. Like, obviously, the one problem that I see is that he agreed with letting Saquon Barkley go, and that was a Joe Shane, Brian Daboll thing, and he also backed Daniel Jones. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He was wrong. So
yeah.
I don't know if that should cost him his job, but anyway, that was just something that really piqued my interest this week. I mean, there's a lot of things with the Dallas Cowboys too. Let's talk about that. Do you think? I don't know if you heard this, but like prior to the Monday night game, there were some pieces of the ceiling from the Dallas Cowboys stadium.
So they hadn't opened it in 2 years.
No, it's been open because there's been there's been concerts and everything else where it's been open, but maybe for a game specifically. But so
Okay.
do we think is that some sort of foreboding or like omen that the sky's falling in Dallas
In Dallas?
and
Yeah, Dallas
things
sucks.
are going
Dallas is a bad team.
only going to go downhill from here? Chet, why are they a bad team?
They have no quarterback anymore, and
They're not good at
they
football.
have no fight, and they're not good at football.
Bless you. They're not
Thank
good
you.
at football. Wally, what do you think? Cowboys? Yes, no.
No, I mean, I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're going to do very well. I mean, we talked about them earlier. I mean, what's their? There's got to be some wholesale changes there. I don't know what's going to happen with Dak next year. Like, what's your take on that, Nate? Does he start next year as a starting quarterback for Dallas?
I mean, he has to, right? Again, the dollar amount. Is there somebody that wants him at that dollar amount? I mean,
I don't know.
I think if they wanted to, but what's the answer to who's replacing him? You know, like I guess if they feel like if they can find somebody that will replace him productivity wise, like he's been a really good coach, or excuse me, a really good quarterback. Now, one thing that I will say is I saw on social media, I saw a clip of an old clip of Troy Aikman. You guys probably remember
Troy,
this,
man, remember him?
where he is just ripping into the coach. Well, first the clip starts off, he's ripping the entire offensive line, telling them they're sorry, telling them they're basically a bunch of bitches and they can't block anybody and what the hell's wrong with them. And then after that, the rant continues with the coach, and the coach is like trying to calm him down, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to calm down. Like it's not. I don't like being this person. I don't like telling these guys that they're not performing well. It's not my job. When the hell is a coach going to stand up and start coaching these guys? Because that's their job. That's what they get paid to do." I'm like, again, when this was in Troy Aikman's early years as well, but like that statement holds true no matter what. Like it should not take a player to ream somebody's ass out. It should be a coach telling them that they're underperforming. And like the gist of this conversation is that the whoever posted that wants to see that from Dak Prescott instead of Dak Prescott, you know, after he's injured, mouthing or saying to CeeDee Lamb or whoever that they fucking suck, you know, which has been going around social media. And like, it's not that he isn't wrong, but like, what have you done to try and fix that? What have you done to try and improve that? And do they need a quarterback that's a vocal leader on that aspect, or at a minimum, like again, telling coaches, holding them accountable as well as the players? I just think there's a lot going on in Dallas, and they can't get out of their own way because of the owner, and that's just it right there. All right, let's talk Celtics. Man, go ahead, Walt. Or let me start. Hold on. Again, I like to toot my own horn. I'm not happy about this, but we talked about this in the beginning. We picked contenders in the East and the West, and one of my top contenders in the East was Cleveland. And you guys laughed at me. Both of you laughed at me. I dusted off. It's okay. I laughed with you. Yeah, like you weren't laughing at me, but when I went back and looked at their roster, and I'm like, how the hell are they so good? Like, what is going on? I mean, again, I think there's a level of coaching there that's on par with Joe Mazzulla and Eric Spoelstra, and I mean, from what I can see, I like how they're performing. I like what they're doing. It's still early, but they do have the best record in the league right now. We did just beat them, the Celtics. Which I'm happy about, of course. But yeah, I just wanted to toot my own horn because I did definitely say that the Cleveland would be a contender in the East. So I expect their performance to continue. throughout the year, and they'll be up there with the Celtics and the Knicks in the East. So
I always appreciate the fact
about
that
the Celtics.
you never pass up an opportunity to toot your own horn. So I appreciate the
You
consistency.
damn right, man.
I
It's
appreciate
kind
the
of
consistency. It's important to acknowledge. It's important when you're wrong as many times as you are. It's important to acknowledge when you're right, because I'm one for being positive, and I'm looking at positive ways to spin things. So yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
Well, I have you guys to tell me when I'm wrong. I mean, that's just that's
happy to do
I'm
it.
not gonna point it out.
Somebody's gonna keep you grounded. Somebody's gonna keep you grounded.
Yeah.
That's what Chet and I are here for, and we're happy to do it, Nate.
That's why I love you.
You can count
That's
on
why
us.
I love you. That's why I love you guys.
And I'm still not over your hatred of the Celtics from last year, so I have a hard time buying into your love for them this year. But we're gonna try to move past that. I shouldn't even have brought it up. I apologize. We're just gonna slide past it. I agree with you about Cleveland. And the Cleveland's a solid team. They're playing well. I just feel like the paper Tigers. I think come playoff time, I don't know. I just don't. Until you beat the man. You can't beat the man until you beat the man.
Can't beat the man until you beat the man.
They can't beat us. And they're going to say that they were missing 4 rotation players. Sure, we were missing
Porzingis,
who's probably their second best player if you put him on their roster. Donovan Mitchell's a real deal. His game boy. I guess I didn't realize he was as good at defense as he was too, because he was all over them. I thought he played an amazing game all around. I came away from there. I thought that whole team played really well together. I feel like the Celtics are not yet 100% clicking. That's why I still don't view them, because we didn't play our best basketball by any stretch of the imagination. That third quarter was awful, but we won. We won. Yeah. We beat them, and I kind of always thought we would. Like, it was one of those games where I'm like, all right, we're going to win this, and we did. Porzingis is close. He's playing with the main team. They're saying he could be ready by December 1st almost. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's like a week and a half away. He's probably more like 2 weeks away, but God damn, I like this team. Jason Tatum continues to play at an MVP level. His 3-point shooting is on point. I like it when he's going to the basket more. Jaylen Brown, I feel like, again, is playing a high volume of basketball. Peyton Pritchard's probably been our surprise MIP, 6th man of the year. I think there's been plenty of games where he's been our MVP, frankly. He can score a ton of points at important junctures of the game as well, while not giving up. Like, people try to target him defensively, and I don't think that's fair, because he plays an intense style of defense as well. I like this team top to bottom. I like the rotation. They were kind of picking on Kada defensively, which I think we got to figure that out. He's still a little awkward, especially on the perimeter. So they tried to isolate him on the perimeter. Cleveland did it very successfully, and he looked like a fish out of water at points because of that. But the flip side of it is he brings such an energy and such an intensity to the game that I think you always have to overlook that. His rebounding, we stink rebounding, and he is very good. So having him be able to offensive rebound is a huge plus. I like his game. I like the way this team's developing. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I feel like this is a very good team. This is going to be when we're clicking and we're healthy, 100%. We are a very good team.
You got to coach them.
We got I like our coach. I didn't even touch on Mazzulla, who I think, again, is putting on a master class. I think he coaches at a very high level. He keeps them accountable. He's intense, but he's supportive. I think he really is a good coach. I like him more and more with every game. He's a little out there. He says some crazy things, but I like it. He's our coach. I'm with him 100%. I got his back 100%. He's been able to manage his team, I think, really well. What do you think, Nick?
Hold on 1 second. We were on the Celtics, so hopefully, there'll be 2 different videos. But anyway, all right. So to support your support of the Celtics, Jason Tatum is on an MVP level this year for sure. He leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. The only person that is leading the team in anything is other than those four categories is Derek White in blocks. So
Derek White's a stud.
The Celtics are so deep. It doesn't. Again, I started the conversation by tooting my own horn and saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers are, contenders. But the reality is it doesn't matter how many rotational players that they had out. They're not deep enough to contend with the Celtics. I mean,
Thank you. I agree.
You talked about Peyton Pritchard being potentially the sixth man. Like this offense suits him perfectly because he can come off the bench. Doesn't necessarily need to be a high volume shooter, but his defense, I will disagree with you on this. He's probably the worst player defensively, 101 on that team, but the team defense is so good, like it supplements his lack of defense. Look,
he's the smallest player. He's the smallest player out there. Sure,
and defensive intensity.
He's right in their fucking jockstrap. He plays an intense defense.
Defensive intensity doesn't mean anything as far as the stats are concerned. Like I can go out there and shuffle my feet and stand in front of people. Like that's what he does. But he does it at a better. He does it much better than me. But I mean,
I think people tend to try to target Hauser more, which I think is crazy as well, because I think he's a pretty good defender as well. But people tend to try to target Hauser.
Well, let's not mistake it. I know you're not saying that he's an all NBA defensive player.
No,
talent.
I think he's better than people think he is.
Oh, I do agree with that, but I also think again our team defense, the way we rotate, our intensity at the personal level when we're on the floor playing defense as a team is what supplements the weakest link, and it makes them look better. And I think that's what happens with him most times because he is undersized. That doesn't mean that he can't stay in front of people, but there's help defense coming from the weak side if he gets beat, or even if he's on the low block and they want to post him up again.
I maintain, a guy like Keita in a spread offense is more easily targeted than Peyton Pritchard. He looked lost when they pulled him out. When they had a big man that could shoot a three, and they pulled him out on a pick and roll. But boy, he looked lost out there. Did you watch that game?
I did, but targeted and taken advantage of are two different things. Peyton Pritchard is very often targeted, and it's not necessarily advantageous to do that, depending on who you're ISOing on him. And again, I think that's a compliment to the team defense and the players that are on the floor with them. And I think that they need to figure out a way to mitigate that with Keita as well, because yes, they are taking advantage of that, but again, maybe they're allowing the ISO to take place and not allowing some help defense, depending on the personnel on the floor. I think that there can be some adjustments with Keita when he's on the floor to mitigate that. Just like I think there is when Peyton Pritchard is on there. I mean, I don't think it's not rocket science when you watch. Like there is help on both sides almost every possession on the perimeter, and that's where Peyton Pritchard plays. Maybe their defensive philosophy is not to help somebody in the low block situations from the weak side. I don't know, but it seems like that. But I also think that once Porzingis is healthy, I like the energy. Yeah, I like the energy that Keita brings. I think that Til'ton is going to get more minutes. So he could potentially be taking minutes away from Keita, but maybe that changes. I'm not the end all.
I'm interested to see because Keita's been getting minutes over. Til'ton hasn't really seen the floor much, which I don't really understand. I thought he'd play a bigger role. We've really seen very little of him. And then Luke Cornett is on again, off again. So I'm interested to see how those three, Cornett, Keita, and Til'ton, how they're going to manage their minutes, especially when Porzingis comes back.
Yeah.
Big
I
Al
mean,
is continued. Big Al's ageless. Like I love this guy. Let's build a statue for him right now. I love everything about his game. I love the way he approaches the game. He had two come from behind blocks against Garland. Garland's a borderline Hall of Fame, a borderline All Star. He's playing at a high level.
yeah.
He could be an All Star. He could. I
No,
think he could
he
be an All
is.
Star.
He is. I was just pumping the brakes
I
on
didn't mean Hall of
the
Famer. I meant All Star. I meant All Star.
He's got a ways to go. I would say pump the brakes on Jason Tatum too, as far as that. Like he's on that trajectory, but
Excuse me. You don't think Jason Tatum's? I mean, yeah.
If he was injured and never played another game, I think it would be a question that we would all ask, but I don't know if he's done enough at this point. He's won one championship, Wally.
I know, boy. What is he? Two more seasons like he's two more regular seasons away. I mean, he's right there on the cusp.
You said it, the cusp. That's exactly what I'm saying. The cusp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Two more seasons at 28.
Yeah. Yes, he's
7
on the
and
cusp.
6.
He's on the cusp.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
why.
agree.
That's why I'm saying. But
I agree.
Garland is way before that. Like,
Yeah.
I knew you
Absolutely.
were. I know that was a Freudian slip on you, like something that you might want to happen, but it's a ways down the road. Like, who knows?
Wow.
I love the Celtics, Wally. You can't tell me otherwise. Although you think I hate them, and you think there was no hate last year. Again, Chet and I think we were on the same page, but I mean, I was merely being very, very critical of small areas that they needed to improve in order to achieve greatness. So in saying those things, I feel like I helped them achieve greatness and make it to the NBA finals. And you know,
You should have got a ring. You should have
I should
got
have
a ring.
You know what, Wally? I'm gonna email
Email
Boston Celtics.
Yep, I think
I'll
you
let
got. I
him
think you
know.
got to email Brad.
No, I'm
You
going
deserve a
above
ring.
Brad. I'm going right to the owners.
You gonna call Wick?
Yeah. Or no, it's like whatever the group is that owns the team now.
Wick Grossbeck.
Yeah. I'm gonna email him. I got him on speed dial.
His daddy actually is the biggest shareholder. He just and that's what this is why you didn't hear this whole story. His dad owns the highest percentage. Wick is like the managing partner, his son, but he owns like a small little sliver. He was pissed because Wick signed all these huge contracts to the players in the last year, and that enforced the sale of the team. That's why they're up for sale.
Wow. So one thing that happened last weekend that we were witness to was an old man being beaten up by a younger man.
Oh.
And if I were to have you guess what I'm talking about, what would you guess, Chet?
The Celtics being treated like they're nothing by the ownership, and they're willing to sell them. They're willing to move on.
Your son-in-law finally stood up to you.
My
Nate,
son-in-law?
yeah, your
No.
son-in-law finally stood up to you and just gave you the old clock.
No, I wasn't knocked out. But it was
No?
something similar to that. It was, you would think that I was talking about the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight that some people saw on Netflix.
That
Others
was
saw
forgettable.
Awful.
others
That was
saw buffering.
forgettable.
Such shit
Others
quality.
saw buffering. But I was actually referring to the Indianapolis Colts versus the New York Jets.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
And the way that Anthony Richardson just took that game by the horns and ended up in the end zone 2 or 3 different times after running over people. And then again, beating Aaron Rodgers at the same time. So it's one of those things that I was happy to witness because I dislike Aaron Rodgers and everything that he stands for in the New York Jets. And I think
no doubt. Aaron Rodgers is a shitbag.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I gotta go to bed like 5 minutes. So what we got?
5 minutes.
I love it.
So, oh, we can go. We can go. Yeah, but the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, it did have over 108 million viewers. Some of them are still waiting for the fight to buffer so they can see it, but 108 million
that
people
blue hat.
watching it. It's a
That blue
Toronto
hat
Blue Jays
is
hat.
amazing.
Why are you wearing
Is
a
it?
Blue Jays hat, Wally?
I'm sorry. Is he wearing a Blue Jays hat? No,
You shouldn't
nobody.
answer that question.
Nobody's
You
not.
shouldn't be wearing. You shouldn't be wearing a Blue Jays hat. It's bullshit.
That destroys me, Dave. I'm
The local
destroying.
minor leaguer, the Manchester team is a Blue Jays affiliate. It's their AA team, so I do support them a little bit. But I did we protested the Red Sox not signing free agents a couple seasons ago, and my buddies that I'm in a fantasy baseball league with did like a hat draft. Other teams we'd support, and I picked the Blue Jays. Somebody bought me a Blue Jays hat.
Yeah, next time.
I'm back on Team Reds. I've always been a Reds. I'm a Red Sox fan, but I had a hard time supporting him because they just don't best the team, and I was pissed off at him.
I get it. I get that.
Well,
I get that.
I will point out something that I was wrong about. I said the Chiefs were going undefeated. They lost last week to the Bills. It is what it is. Now they're definitely going on to win the Super Bowl, and that's my prediction. So all that stress about winning every week in and week out is gone. They're going to make it to the playoffs. They're going to be in a position to.
Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, and I fucking hate it.
The Bills are not.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to win, and I'm going to root for them too.
No.
Wait, Wally, tell us more.
I hope the Bills win.
Why?
I feel bad
Bills are
for
going
them.
to the Super
I want
Bowl?
the Bills Mafia to experience a Super Bowl victory. The Patriots are not going to win, so I'd rather the Bills. I'd rather the Bills win. Over the Chiefs, 1,000,000,000%. I will root for the Bills 1,000,000% over the Chiefs.
I want a three-peat.
No way. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Get out of Dodge. You're not a Patriots fan.
I am a Patriots fan.
Like,
The
why
Patriots
would
are
you
not
actually
going to win it this year.
I'm with Wally on this. Why the fuck would you want a three-peat for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Because it's never been done before.
Oh my god!
I want to see history. Every time I watch a football game, I want to see history. Doesn't matter who's playing. But do you guys remember last week? I didn't really. I think I felt like I cut things short so I could go on a date. Do you remember that?
Yeah, how'd that go?
Oh well, I mean, I asked her to meet me at the gym, and she never showed up.
Well,
And that's how I know we weren't going to work
well,
out.
you can't ask her to meet you at the gym, buddy. You gotta. Anyway, what's next?
That's it, man. My dad joke of the week, and there's more that we had, but we can wait till next week. Next week we'll do episode 4 because it's also closer to. Well, we need to talk about how we're going to execute next week because it's also Thanksgiving too. So.
Oh yeah,
I was
thinking.
No, we'll talk about that off.
Actually,
We'll talk about that offline. We'll talk about that offline. Talk about it offline. Talk about it.
Yeah, I have no thought.
Or via text, but I know you guys got to go. So
No.
The dad joke's the signature cue to get offline and stop recording. So appreciate y'all for your time. Like and follow and comment on all of our stuff. Again, we'll give you a shout out on social media. We'll give you a shout out on our episode. Appreciate y'all listening. Deuces.
Deuces.